My name is Ruth Dengwani. I am based in Harare in Zimbabwe and I'm 48 years old. September 15, 2001, just 5 days after my son's 4th birthday and 4 days before my 29th birthday, I was in transit in Johannesburg, South Africa, on my way to the United States, where we were moving as a family to try and get a better life because of the economic situation in Zimbabwe. That morning, as I arrived in Johannesburg, I took a nap, and 30 minutes into my nap, I was woken up because there was a phone call. My husband of 7 years had just died in a car accident that very morning. So I am in this confusion. I have to change tickets. I have to cancel my trip to the United States of America and move and travel back home. With that confusion, the grief, the shock, I traveled back to Zimbabwe, where I met with even worse situation. The family, my husband's family that I had called family for 7 years, had turned against me. In the African culture, when the husband dies, the woman or the wife becomes the suspect that she's killed the man, despite whether he's been sick, he's been ill for a long time, it was a car accident or any kind of any natural death, the wife gets blamed. So I travel back home, and the situation that welcomes me back is I had killed him. How? I asked myself, but I was grieving. I was in this state, I was confused, and there were accusations flying, the stigma of being a widow, the confusion that now it was just me and my son, and now this family that I really loved and thought they were my people had turned against me. And the funeral took a week. After a week, we buried my husband. And as I traveled back to our marital home, I made up my mind that I was going to make it part of my life purpose to help every widow that I could, in terms of empowering them in skills and giving them hope and teaching them how to become economically independent. Because the society in Zimbabwe is highly patriarchal, where men's words are the ones, or men have the primary power, and they predominate in positions across the different sectors. Your life as a widow is decided by the men. The fathers, the uncles, they get together and they make decisions for you. If you are not educated or skilled, you'll be shipped off to the village where you work the fields with the mother-in-law and his family. And what happens when you are shipped to the village, you are disempowered. All decisions are made for you, where your children go to school or who is going to raise them. During the funeral, you're not only grieving, you are also fighting to keep your children, you are fighting to keep your property, you're fighting to keep the things that you work together with the man that is now dead. So I found myself in this situation. But thank God, my parents had sent me to school. So I was empowered. I had the education. And I decided to use my skills, to use my education and my experience as a widow to train other women that were disempowered and found themselves in a disadvantaged situation. So I started working with every widow that I knew, or if I heard that there was somebody who had lost a husband, I'll go out of my way and I'll go and visit them, to console them, to comfort them, but also to talk to them about how are you going to move on from now? How are you going to look after your children? Do not be dependent on the extended family, because that just disempowers you. So I came up with different projects, using their skills, whatever they could do. If they had a garden, if they had land, then we would do gardening. And if they could sew, if they could knit, if they could bake, I encouraged them and decided. I went into a partnership with one of my sisters, Gertrude Mache, and we decided to fund the different projects that would empower these women in the villages across the country. We've worked in Bulawayo, we've worked in Harare, we've worked in Shurugwi, and we're still doing a lot of work with the widows and the disempowered women. Why do I do this? Why do I take the time? because I realized that as an African woman, if you don't have education, you are disadvantaged, and men will just make decisions for you, and that just leaves you powerless. So I enjoy working with women. I enjoy empowering women. I enjoy seeing women being able to look after themselves and their families and giving back, and also teaching other women, whether they are widows or just women that are not educated or skilled, and train them and make them do things for themselves, working with their hands, using whatever is available to make a living for their families. It's satisfying when you look back and you go to the village and you find out that their gardens are flourishing, they're selling their products, and they're making money, and their children are going to school. The children are no longer missing school, and they're buying livestock for themselves, just to create wealth for themselves. So my experience has taught me that whatever you know, whatever skill you have, you can transfer it. You can tell your story. It will empower the next woman. Tell your story, share whatever skills you have, because you never know who may need them. We have had people traveling from overseas coming to these projects to do skills transfer. So if you have a skill in health, if you have a skill in gardening, whatever skill you have, we have room. We have women that are willing to learn new skills, and we invite you to take part, to be partners, or to be part of our projects as we empower these women, and as we watch the children send their children to school, and the children graduate and they begin to look after their mom. It has been so rewarding for me doing this work, and I love seeing women empowered. I love seeing lives transformed and impacting families. So share your skills, share your stories, help another person, reach out. If you see somebody struggling, be kind, reach out and do the best that you can to help each other. You know, somebody said that a candle does not lose its light when it lights another. So as human beings, as women especially, we are there for each other. We should be there for each other. And the widowhood in Africa has a common thread, where the wife is accused of being the witch, and she's left to fend for her children, or she's sent to the village where she has no means of making it, but depending on the family. So this is a common thread in Africa because of the patriarchal society that we live in. So as an African woman, I have enjoyed and I love empowering women, and we've worked with women of different ages, young widows, even those that had given up, thinking that they could never make money or become economically independent. We've helped them, we've shared skills, we've brought in people, we've worked with them, we spend time in the villages, we spend time in the different projects that we do, just working with these women and empowering them, and just watching the transformation has been amazing. So my name is Ruth Dengwani. You can find me on Facebook under Ruth Dengwani, Dengwani, or my Facebook page, I Am Woman, where we share the stories and then the successful projects that we have done to empower other women. Thank you so much.